Chair Jolene Ivey, and I am here because we're going to announce a new independent office that's been created to promote transparency and accountability within our public schools. It's called the Office of Integrity and Compliance. Mr. Frank Turner has been selected as our Compliance and Integrity Officer, and he has spent the last months building his office, hiring employees, and launching investigations. He comes to us from working for both the FBI and the IRS as a criminal investigator. His office will play a crucial role in ensuring all ethical and legal standards are upheld, and it will investigate any allegations of waste, fraud, and abuse. I would note, Mr. Turner does have authority to issue subpoenas. I want to commend the leadership of Senator Alonzo Washington, whose bill in Annapolis for this office allowed this office to be created. The Prince George's County Council supported this bill, and we look forward to seeing the positive impact it's going to have on our school system and in the community. Mr. Turner was selected in December, hired in January, and has been standing up this office ever since, and we are now to the point where we are ready to announce it to the public. And I will now turn to the Vice Chair, Sidney Harrison.
Good morning. I want to thank Madam Chair for the opportunity to speak about the importance of this acknowledgement as we have appointed Mr. Frank Turner to this position. As many of you all know, that the Prince George's County school system gets about 62% of our budget. 62%, about $2.8 billion that goes to the school system. As you know, there's over 20,000 employees and 130,000 students that attend our Prince George's County public schools each and every day. And so we felt as a legislative branch that it is important that we create the accountability factor in government. And this is one way to do it, to make sure that we're doing all that we can, that we're dotting all our I's and crossing all our T's, and ensuring the best possible outcome for 21st century state-of-the-art learning in Prince George's County. And Mr. Turner, I know, will do a great job at creating that accountability to make sure that we know what we're doing when we make our decisions about how we move as a county forward. So I now want to introduce you to Senator Alonzo Washington. As you know, he really is the innovator, architect, and the leader that has created this opportunity for the Prince George's County Council to have this position through his legislation. And so we owe him a round of applause for the great work he does in serving the citizens of this county. So, Senator.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Vice Chair and Madam Chair Ivey. Thank you for allowing me to be here today. Good morning, everyone. And thank you for being here. Today, I am proud to celebrate the creation of the Office of Integrity and Compliance within the Prince George's County school system, and to formally announce here today the appointment of Frank Turner as the Integrity and Compliance Officer. This office represents a significant step toward ensuring transparency, accountability, and ethical governance in our school system, something that I have been committed to throughout my career. As champion for public education, I have led reforms that strengthen our schools and serve our students and teachers, including being a lead sponsor and architect of the Blueprint for Maryland's Future. I've also been instrumental in creating the statewide Office of Inspector General for Education here in Maryland, and establishing the Office of Accountability and Integrity Board under the Blueprint for Maryland's Future. My efforts to curb waste, fraud, and abuse have been central to my legislative work, and this new Office of Integrity and Compliance is another key measure to protect our students and families and the taxpayers. This office will serve as a critical watchdog, investigating allegations of waste, fraud, and abuse, independent of the school board, independent of the superintendent, and the school system itself. It will be truly independent. The office is equipped with the investigatory powers, including the ability to subpoena and compel witness testimony, ensuring that no misconduct goes unnoticed. Over the past decade, unfortunately, and it's no secret, our school system has been plagued by high-profile cases of fraud, waste, and abuse, financial mismanagement, causing the taxpayers millions of dollars here in Prince George's County. Now, while this independent office will not solve every problem in our school system, it is the vital first step to restoring public confidence. Today, we are sending a clear message to parents, students, and teachers alike, and especially the taxpayers here in Prince George's County, that we take every allegation of waste, fraud, and abuse seriously, and we will address them with full transparency and accountability with this office. I want to thank my colleagues in the Prince George's County delegation in the Senate and the House for supporting this legislation. I obviously want to thank our county council here for appointing such a great appointee in Frank Turner. And together we will continue to build a stronger, more transparent, and accountable public school system for Prince George's County. Thank you. And I would like to thank you. And I'd like to introduce the new Office of Inspector General, Mr. Frank Turner.
Well, thank you. Thank you, Senator Washington. First, I want to start by thanking the County Council and Senator Washington for all their support in getting this office up, and then also the support that I needed to try to build it out, whether related to space, staff, and so forth. So, and I also want to thank the media for showing up for this announcement. As far as my staff goes, that build is coming along well. I've been able to hire a deputy financial administrator position due to the high minority population in the county. Of course, I thought it was critically important that by chance I was able and fortunate to get a bilingual Spanish and English speaker CPA and attorney that is going to serve as my deputy, who's from a Big Four accounting firm. I've also been able to bring on a compliance audit specialist, and that person that is on board has a master's in accounting, has had multiple lead audit roles in her past, and also my executive administrative support person who has 30 years plus within Prince George's County Public Schools. So this is the initial team. In October, I'll be bringing on an investigator, so I'm looking forward to having that in place. As far as the context for the announcement, I think it's important that, as mentioned in the previous remarks, that it be highlighted that the Office of Integrity and Compliance, is set up to maintain public trust and ensuring effective operation of the educational system that we have here in Prince George's County, and also to provide oversight. As far as the purpose of the office, going into a little bit more detail on that, is to uphold the high standards of ethical conduct and adherence to laws and regulations within Prince George's County Public Schools, improve the effectiveness, productivity, and efficiency of local school system programs, policies, practices, and operations, and emphasize on preventing and investigating and reporting instances of waste, fraud, and abuse. A lot of my publications and so forth will be made public on our website, the Office of Integrity and Compliance's website, which I'll get to later and put that out there as far as where that website is. It launched right before school started, because I wanted it in place before the first school year for this office. So that launched on August 22nd. And then we're also looking to find ways to strengthen internal controls and their related accounting, financial, technology, and operational policies. So there's a lot of work to be done, a big lift here. Some of the other key objectives are to promote transparency, enhance accountability, prevent misconduct, and provide support and education. So one of the things that we're really trying to do is figure out how do we build a whole culture of compliance or enhance the culture that we already have as far as making sure that compliance is there. Getting into, obviously, publicizing the office's creation is important, but building training modules on doing the right thing all the time, not just when somebody's looking over your shoulder. Some of the other things I want to talk about is, we're looking to and change the code of conduct in the school system to include our office as the first place to go to report especially high-level waste, fraud, and abuse. We are, I'm trying to build the relationship with the school system and the school board to make sure that we get that in place. Also, in changing some of the administrative procedures in the school system because the system hasn't had this, so we're trying to work through getting this office set up and publicized in the school system. Of course, there'll be a lot of monitoring and evaluation that takes place. At the end of the year, I will do a annual report as mandated by law to publicize what we have accomplished and what we have done in year one of this office being created. Some of the other positive outcomes that I'm looking for this year are to improve trust, better compliance with regulations, again, new efficiencies, reductions in waste, fraud, and abuse, and more ethical organizational culture. We are establishing metrics to be able to publicize the impact, whether it be stats or savings in funding of any sort. As Vice Chair Harrison mentioned, it's a mega system with a $2.8 billion budget. A lot of work there for us to look at. As far as the commitment to stakeholders, that's trying to engage the community. I've had meet and greets with county council members, with the Board of Education members on that board, PGCPS administrative leadership, board, and PGCPS legal counsel. The Maryland IG for Education, created a relationship there as well, partnership there. The police chief, I've met with him. I've met with the Prince George's County State's Attorney and other IGs in the state of Maryland to have a relationship there as well. And obviously, I have sources of information that have already come to me, which will always maintain, and they'll always be confidential. The law also talks about a duty to report, and it talks about addressing that at no time will retaliation for reporting to the Office of Integrity and Compliance be tolerated, and that would be against the law as well. All of my Office of Integrity employees have had an oath of office and have signed non-disclosure agreements to make sure that the confidentiality of folks that come in and talk to us is at the utmost importance. So in conclusion, I think that, I just want to encourage all the Prince George's County Public School System stakeholders to engage with the new office, participate in the training that we put out, and we're going to have, like I said, more reporting mechanisms. But the taxpayers of Prince George's County, have the right to know how their dollars are being used as the best way possible. So that's a big goal for me going forward. Some of the ways you can reach my office, I have a main number. It's 301-952-6113. I have an email now set up, which is the oic@pgcps.org, and the mailing address to make sure that I'm in, if you mail something in, especially if it's anonymous, that it will come to this building versus any building that is associated directly with the school system. So that would be the Wayne Curry Administration Building at 1301 McCormick Drive, Suite 3-124, Largo, Maryland 20774. And at this time, I wanted to open it up and see if there's any questions.
A whole bunch.
Okay.
So you've already sent a memo to the board members saying show up for meetings.
Yes.
Can you talk about that a little bit, what you found?
Sure. So I got here, and I guess my full month in place was February of 2024. I immediately noticed an observation that there was at least one board member that was not present at all. So in March, I gave it about 6 weeks of just observing that. I decided to have a communication directly with the school board and let them know that there is a attendance policy for board members in Prince George's County Public Schools, and it appears as though this board member had violated the attendance policy, which has to do with missing 3 or more meetings consecutively, unexcused, or 25% of the total meetings for that year. So I advised them at that point that this needed to be handled. This needed to be dealt with, and the way it's the way that the Prince George's County School Board would deal with it would be, they would actually write something up, take a vote, and then it would be sent to the Maryland Board of Education requesting action on their part for possible removal. Then I continued to have those communications into the spring. Keep in mind that at this time, I'm trying to investigate and build the office at the same time, which was quite a challenge. So I'm really leaning on the fact that you've got a violation of the enforcement of the attendance policy. Let's take action on that. Then on July 5th, once the school board changed to an all-elected school board, in order to be preventative, I issued a memo dated July 5th and said that this was going to be heavily monitored, that this was an issue in the prior year, and that action should have been taken, but that I really wanted to make sure that they knew that I was looking at this going forward with this brand new elected board. About 3 weeks later, that's when everything came out and was in the media related to that particular board member, so that's kind of how that was handled.
So is that an example of how you've got a podium, you can't charge criminally?
Well, so due to my background, and then of course the relationships I've been trying to cultivate with the state's attorney, with the different, the police department, and understanding where's the line on how far you want me to go with it before I send it over to you. And they've been very transparent, and so I've gotten that gauge. However, at that point, it probably would have been a little different had my investigator and my team been on board. But at that point, I needed to rely on, hey, this is the easiest way. Instead of proving residency or domicile, this was the way that was administratively could have handled the situation. Unfortunately, there wasn't anything that happened.
Are there any repercussions that can come from that?
You mean, so I'm still looking at some other options in that scenario, because that case was referred, as you saw in the media. It was referred to me, even though I had been advising on that case, on that scenario from an administrative side. But so that I'm still doing some things to try to see what we can do at this point. That of course I can't disclose those things as far as the investigation goes, but that's where it is right now, unfortunately.
If you find anything criminally, you have to send that to the state's attorney's office for.
Correct. Yeah, and like I said, I have met with the state's attorney, so there's a direct communication there that I have with the state's attorney, and we have discussed when and how far to go, and of course, state's attorney has made it clear is the most evidence you can get before you send the case over is obviously best to make sure that the case can go forward.
Is the fact that you were sort of raising alarms about this for months before it came out, is that indicative of sort of the response and the reception you've gotten from the school board, the school system itself? Are you not exactly the most popular guy there right now?
Well, yes, that is correct. Not only am I not the most popular guy there, but there's resistance that I've run into to some extent. I know it's something new. It's it's a big change for the school board and for the school system. So I try to not take it to heart, but that's definitely something that I'm working through with them. I think that there's some other ways that I have planned that I want to publicize the office besides just this. So I think once the system, like, we're talking about 20,000 employees, but once they, really know that this exists, this office exists, I think there's going to be a better natural relationship with the school board and the superintendent's office.
Can I say something? Can I say something real quick on that point? Look, I know there's going to be some resistance to this position within the Prince George's County Public School System, but this is law. This is law now here in the state of Maryland. This legislation was signed by the governor and approved by the General Assembly, and it's here to stay. And so, therefore, it's in the best interest of our school system that our school board, our superintendent accepts this office with open arms and works together to resolve these issues.
Yes. Thank you. Thank you.
People make accusations to us all the time on the TV recorder. They call me, they say this and this. What are you, without details, and I know you can't do that, what sort of things are you hearing? Are you hearing about waste? Are you hearing about fraud? All of the above. It's a big money, it's a big budget over there.
It's a big budget. I think to date they have had, you may be familiar with internal audit that does exist in the school system. What I've seen so far is that the school system is so big and there's so many other matters that are higher level matters where you need to have, more of an investigative background. So I'm trying to, basically, the independence of this office, I think, is key, right? And as far as navigating the way forward, one of the anytime you have, for example, anywhere you have an internal audit, they're still under a body, which obviously poses another challenge, right? Because there's somebody that's overseeing them, so then they're not completely autonomous. So I'm not sure if that answers your question.
Do you expect to see waste and fraud? Are you already seeing examples of waste and fraud?
Yes.
Can you tell us anything about anything?
Well, not on any ongoing investigations, but I think that as far as there'll be other management advisories that I've already done. I just haven't published them yet. Because obviously, one of the things that the state law talks about is efficiencies too. And so really what I'm trying to do is, look at it from, not from the education side per se, because I'm more worried about, are we using the dollars the best way? It's a humongous budget. And I want to make sure that I bring value for not just fraud, where there's investigations, but also building efficiency. So yes, I've seen things. I've been contacted on a number of times. There's other, smaller level investigations that I've done already and closed those out. Some of those may be published in the near future. So yes, I have seen.
You're teasing. Can you say anything about anything? Is it just wasted money? Is it contract? Is it...
Well, so for example, one of the big areas, right, and there's one of the council members that when I was coming on, one of the things they said was, hey, can you look at some of the big construction contracts, right? So that's never been looked at, or hasn't been looked at by internal audit. Obviously, there's a lot there. There's been construction companies that I've heard from, and so I can't say that yet, but there's a lot. I'm sure that I'll be able to find some things.
Mr. Turner, Brad, let me answer that question real fast for you too. We have about 208 schools in this county, right? About a $10 billion worth of backlog of school infrastructure. Working with our state partners and our legislature, as you know, Prince George's County is on this precipice moment of the P3 model. which is groundbreaking, it's innovative. 12 new schools in the last 6 years, right? So when we talk about how we spend those P3 dollars, it's very important because a lot of the investment we're making from the Maryland Blueprint for Education, along with our P3 models, we're just trying to perfect the efficiencies and the effectiveness of what we're trying to do. So I just wanted to make that clear. Our school system infrastructure is the 15th largest in the United States of America. So this office is crucial to help us understanding how we can become a better government, be accountable and transparent in the same process. Thank you.
Yeah, I'll be able to get into more, but my team, I just got my team, so it takes time. Say what?
You can just email me all those.
Okay. Noted.
Thanks.
I don't know if Councilmember Fisher or Watson want to speak? Okay. Well, thank you so much for coming. This has been a long time in the making. I told you that we selected him in December. I want you to keep in mind that I became chair in December. And so one of the first things I did was focus on fulfilling the state law and finding the right person for the position. The good news is that he'd already been kind of vetted. Yes. And by the time we were finished, the entire council was on board with his hiring, and we're excited to have him with us. And we know he'll make the school system and the county better. Absolutely. Thank you so much.
Congratulations.